It's another primary day today with a Senate primary in Maine and a Senate primary runoff in Texas and Alabama. In Alabama, President Trump is backing former Auburn football coach Tommy Tuberville, who's running against former Senator and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. On a Monday conference call, President Trump said he made a big mistake in appointing Sessions Attorney General. The winner of this race will take on Democratic Senator Doug Jones in November. Mike Cason joins me now. He's a state government reporter for Alabama Media Group. Mike, welcome. Great to have you with us. So what have the final days of this primary campaign shaped up to look like?
Well, it's been quite a contrast. Sessions has been crisscrossing the state, stopping at restaurants and other places, having public appearances where he interviews with the media or makes his statements with the media and then takes questions. And a lot of what he says is calling Tuberville to come out of, as he put it, hiding, because Tuberville in recent weeks has not made any public appearances where he talks to the media. It's not giving interviews, and has declined Sessions' calls for a debate. The experts. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, I was going to say that, the political analysts say that's standard operating procedure for somebody that's ahead in the polls. What Tuberville is doing is, he has nothing to gain by getting out and speaking to the media or doing a debate if he feels like he's comfortably ahead. Well, we'll see if that pans out.
And Mike, you report the president spoke on a conference call with Tuberville last night. Did the president explain the mistake he says he made in picking Sessions for Attorney General?
Well, he didn't characterize it as a mistake on his part. He just said what he said, for almost 3 years now, that Jeff Sessions was a disappointment to him. And I think the way he put it was Sessions did not have the courage to stay in there and fight when the Russia investigation started. Of course, Sessions has been steadfast throughout this that he had no choice but to recuse because he was part of the Trump campaign and he couldn't investigate the Trump campaign. And Sessions has never wavered on that point. Sessions did on Saturday. Sessions typically doesn't respond when the president criticizes him, but he did respond on Saturday to a tweet by the president and characterized the president's tweet as juvenile insults.
And also in that call, Mike, President Trump referred to longtime Alabama football coach Nick Saban as Lou Saban, a very different coach. So how did that go over?
Nobody seemed to notice it on the call. I mean, nobody acknowledged it on the call. Tuberville could have corrected him. Nobody did. And he said Lou Saban at least twice. I don't think he ever said Nick Saban, but it went over without a mention. I'm sure it was.
All right.
Out a lot of
and Mike, right. And Mike, is Jeff Sessions, who served as Alabama senator for 20 years, facing then a much tougher race than he imagined when he got into it?
I think a tougher race. I think he probably expected a tough race. It's, because of his falling out with the president. I think he was hopeful that would have been mended somewhat. That's not turned out to be the case. So yeah, I think he's faced a tougher race than he was expecting.
Mm-hmm. And then whoever wins this runoff will, of course, face Senator Doug Jones in November. He is often referred to as the most vulnerable Senate Democrat this election cycle. How has he been campaigning?
Most recently, he's been focusing a lot on the COVID-19 pandemic, which is dominating the news in Alabama as it is everywhere. Alabama's going through its worst time right now through the entire pandemic. There were 40 deaths yesterday, the most ever. And Senator Jones is spending a lot of time on that issue. He had a Facebook live stream event with the head of the State Hospital Association today. So I would say that's been his focus at this point.
All right. Well, Mike Cason, thank you so much for sharing your Alabama insight with us.
Thanks for having me.